get to go to the job that I have to pay for rent. Why do I have to do all of that stuff?
I'm an American. I pay $1,600 for a flat that has no bedroom. That's 2/3 of my income. I'm an American. I work 50 hours a week. I don't have health insurance.
Imagine doing everything you were ever told to do to build a stable, decent life. You show up to work every day, you put in the hours, you take on the extra shifts, and you sacrifice your time, your energy, and your weekends because you believe in the foundational promise that hard work pays off. Whether you went to college and took on massive student debt, or went straight into the trades, or have been working the same factory floor, office desk, or retail shift for 20 years, the expectation was exactly the same. If you put in the effort, you earn your piece of security. You earn a life where you do not have to sweat every single time you swipe your card at the grocery store. But then you look at your bank account at the end of the month, and the math simply does not add up. You look around at your life and realize that despite working harder than ever, you are barely scraping by. It does not matter if you are a parent trying to figure out how childcare became more expensive than a mortgage, a young professional wondering if you will ever own a square foot of property, or an older worker realizing that retirement is a mirage that keeps moving further into the distance. The feeling is identical across the board. On paper, you might be making more money than your parents ever did, or you might have a steady income that should theoretically guarantee comfort. Yet, the reality is a constant, low-grade financial panic. Your grocery bill feels like a luxury expense. Your utility bills keep creeping upward, and a single unexpected car repair or dental emergency can completely wipe out months of disciplined savings. You are running as fast as you can on a treadmill that is slowly accelerating, just to stay in the exact same place, completely exhausted. If this sounds like your daily life, you are part of a massive, quiet majority. Across America, millions of people from every walk of life, every age group, and every profession are waking up to a harsh, confusing, and deeply frustrating reality. We are working longer hours, taking fewer vacations, and producing more wealth for the economy than at any point in history. Yet somehow, the average American is getting poorer. The safety net is shrinking, the cost of existence is skyrocketing, and the traditional pillars of stability are slipping out of reach for the very people who keep the country running. It forces us to ask a fundamental question that cuts to the very core of our identity. Why has doing everything right stopped working? How did we end up in a system where hard work no longer guarantees a stable life? Is this really the new normal? Or did someone change the rules of the game while we were busy working? To understand how we arrived at this breaking point, we have to look back a few decades to see where the contract between America and its people was quietly rewritten. There was a time in this country where a regular job could support a family, buy a median-priced home, cover annual vacations, and fund a comfortable retirement. This was not an exaggerated myth or a movie trope. It was the baseline economic expectation of the mid-20th century. Between the late 1940s and the early 1970s, as the American economy grew more productive, worker pay grew right alongside it in a nearly perfect parallel line. If you worked harder and produced more value, you got paid more money. It was a simple, fair, and transparent agreement that built a massive, thriving middle class. But around the mid-1970s, something fundamental broke. Economists call this phenomenon the Great Decoupling. Suddenly, productivity kept climbing, driven by new technologies, computers, and corporate efficiencies. Workers were producing more output per hour than ever before, but average worker wages flattened out completely when adjusted for inflation. If wages had kept pace with American productivity over the last 50 years, the average worker today would be making significantly more money for the exact same hours. Instead, that extra wealth generated by your hard work did not just vanish into thin air, it was redirected. It flowed straight to corporate profits, executive bonuses, and Wall Street shareholders, leaving regular working people to survive on wages that have essentially been frozen in time for half a century. We became vastly more efficient at creating wealth, but the people creating it were completely left out of the reward. Have you noticed this trend in your own career or your specific community? Think about the last time you got a raise or a promotion, or when you looked at the starting wages for jobs in your area. Did it actually make you feel wealthier, or did it just temporarily cover the increased cost of your health insurance or your basic bills? Let me know in the comments if your income has actually kept up with the reality of living in your city, because seeing how this plays out across different states and different industries is incredibly eye-opening. The problem is not just that our paychecks have stagnated, it is that the cost of simply staying alive in America has exploded in a way that previous generations never had to navigate. For years, we have been subjected to a constant barrage of articles and financial gurus claiming that people cannot afford to live because they spend too much money on premium coffee, dining out, and streaming subscriptions. But that narrative is a convenient distraction designed to shift blame onto the individual and protect a broken system. The data tells a completely different story. The cost of non-essential goods like televisions, clothing, and electronics has actually plummeted over the last 30 years due to globalization. What has gone through the roof are the things you literally cannot survive without: housing, healthcare, utilities, and basic groceries. Consider the housing market, which has devolved from a basic human need into a highly speculative asset class for investors. In the 1970s, the average American home cost roughly 3 times the median household income. Today, a home costs upwards of 6, 7, or in some major metropolitan areas, 10 times the median income. Renting provides no escape or financial relief either. Corporate landlords, hedge funds, and private equity firms have purchased massive amounts of single-family homes and apartment complexes across the country, using algorithmic software to drive rents to historic highs and forcing many families to spend 40 or 50% of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. When half your paycheck vanishes on the first day of the month, there is simply nothing left over to save, invest, or use to build a foundation for the future. You are not struggling because you bought a coffee. You are struggling because the housing infrastructure of America has become a predatory market. Then there is the crushing weight of healthcare and basic necessities, sectors that have outpaced general inflation by hundreds of %. A single medical emergency can erase a decade of disciplined savings in a matter of days. America remains one of the only developed nations where getting sick or injured can mean total financial ruin, even if you are fully insured through your employer. Deductibles, co-pays, and premiums rise every single year, quietly eating away at whatever minor raises you might receive at work. At the same time, the cost of feeding a family has shifted from a routine grocery run to a calculated financial strategy. You find yourself fighting a war on 2 fronts. Your income is stuck in the past, while your expenses are firmly planted in an unaffordable future. It is an unsustainable equation, and the stress it causes is visible on the faces of people in every community across the nation. This massive economic shift has completely transformed the very nature of work itself. The era of the stable, 30-year career with a guaranteed pension, reliable benefits, and a sense of mutual loyalty between employer and employee is largely gone. It has been replaced by a corporate culture that views employees not as valuable human assets to be protected, but as line item expenses to be minimized at the first sign of a quarterly downturn. Major corporations realized they could maximize their profit margins and please their board members by stripping away worker protections, outsourcing labor to cheaper markets, and shifting all the financial risk directly onto the individual worker. Millions of Americans now navigate their adult lives completely without a safety net, working multiple part-time jobs, freelancing, or picking up gig work just to make ends meet. Every single day is a high-stakes gamble. If you get sick, you lose your income for that week. If your car breaks down, you cannot make rent. This constant, low-grade survival anxiety is not limited to any one industry. It affects retail workers, delivery drivers, teachers, nurses, and tech professionals alike. It has become the background noise of modern American adulthood. We have been conditioned to accept this volatility as flexibility, but in reality, it keeps workers compliant, tired, and too busy surviving to demand anything better. The psychological toll of this reality is profound and deeply isolating. when you work 40, 50, or 60 hours a week and still cannot afford to repair your car, take a week off to see your family, or buy groceries without checking your banking app first, you naturally start to blame yourself. Our culture has conditioned us to view financial struggle as a deeply personal moral failure. We think, if only I worked harder, if only I picked up another shift, if only I had made different choices, or if only I was smarter with my money. But this self-blame isolates us from one another. It makes people feel ashamed to talk about money with their friends and family, which effectively hides how widespread this crisis actually is. When you look past the shame and examine the broader economic landscape, you realize that this is not a personal failure at all. It is the predictable systemic outcome of an economy designed to value corporate capital and shareholder returns far more than human labor and societal well-being. What is the situation like in your neighborhood or your line of work right now? Are you seeing your friends, family members, and coworkers struggling with these same compounding pressures, or does it feel different in your specific region? Are people starting to talk about this more openly, or is there still a sense of quiet desperation? Drop a comment below, because sharing these real-life experiences helps break down the isolation so many people are feeling right now and shows the true scale of what we are dealing with. The simple reality is that Americans are not lazy, and we never have been. In fact, we are among the hardest working people in the developed world, routinely logging significantly more hours per year than workers in most other wealthy nations. We have willingly given up our work-life balance, our weekends, our hobbies, our physical health, and our mental well-being to keep the engines of this economy turning at maximum capacity. We have held up our end of the historic bargain. We showed up, we put in the time, and we did the work. But the unwritten contract that defined the American dream has been completely rewritten without our consent or our input. Hard work is no longer a reliable ladder to a better, more secure life. For too many people, it has become a relentless, exhausting treadmill where you have to run faster and faster just to avoid falling off the back. A society cannot sustain itself when the people who build its homes, teach its children, care for its sick, grow its food, and maintain its vital infrastructure can no longer afford to live in the very communities they serve. This is not a sustainable path forward, and the cracks in the foundation are becoming impossible to ignore. Recognizing that this is a structural, systemic issue rather than a collection of personal shortcomings is the crucial first step toward imagining something better. It starts with conversations like this one, breaking the silence, refusing to accept the blame for a rigged system, and realizing that millions of us are fighting the exact same battle behind closed doors. You are not failing the system. The system is failing you. If this video brought some clarity to something you have been experiencing in your own life, or if it helped put words to the frustrations you feel every time you look at your budget, please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing this video with someone who might need to hear it. Your support helps us continue to produce these deep dives into the economic realities shaping our world and gives a voice to the struggles that define modern life. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.